Thorchain, ticker code Rune, is the next cryptocurrency I'll be reviewing today. This one's come pretty highly recommended, so I see a lot of interest around this one. So I spent the last few days doing research on this, and I thought I'd give my own fundamentals and TA on Rune. Just be aware, guys, as usual with all of my videos, that it is my goal with this channel to always be honest in it. I never want to see a project fail. I never want to just blatantly call out a crypto. I just always want to be genuine and honest with the information I give. And Thorchain is a bit like Link, where it has awesome fundamentals, but the charts are sort of telling me a different story, unfortunately. But before we get into the video, let me introduce myself. I am the Crypto Diet. I'm currently doing my Masters in Economics at Monash University. I'm also working in the banking and finance industry here in Australia. It is my goal with this channel to always be honest with all of the cryptocurrencies I review one by one on this channel. If that sounds good to you, give me a like, give me a subscribe, and let's go through each coin one by one. And we'll cover the Thorchain's fundamentals, and then we'll come back to the chart and we'll talk about Rune versus its Ethereum value versus its Bitcoin value, its USD value, and we'll give some price predictions with Rune as well. Let's get right into it. So what are Thorchain's fundamentals? Well, they're pretty cool fundamentals, actually. It's a decentralized exchange where you're able to swap each coin like for like. So this isn't any synthetic version or any wrapped BTC or anything like that. This is the full coin and crypto for what it is, changing it for another one. So if you have Ethereum and you want to change that for Bitcoin, you can do that using the Thorchain network in a decentralized way. And that is really the key here. So you can see where Thorchain would actually have a use case, because if you want to go decentralized and avoid KYCs and things like that, you can actually easily use Thorchain to exchange your cryptos, which I quite like. The problem I have with this is that most of the coins that are being changed are actually on the Ethereum network, and that's why you're seeing things like Uniswap, you're seeing things like Curve do very well on the Ethereum network, because that is really where most of this is actually centered at the moment. And you can still actually change your cryptos on things like Binance, but that's a more centralized way. So we all know this by now, DeFi is still very much in infancy, and I still have high hopes for Rune in the future. I do think that this would become a very good use case in the future, but DeFi is still very early on and still has a ways to go. And Thorchain just says this is more secure if you do it decentralized, and you're able to get more of a liquidity, or you'll be able to get more of a yield, so you can stake your coins on the Thorchain network and earn really good yield and provide liquidity to people. So I like that aspect of Rune. But what are the tokenomics for Rune? Well, it normally has the same tokenomics you'd expect with most cryptos. So validators must stake to be part of the validator set, which is subject to lock-up period to prevent nothing at stake attacks. They also have all network transaction fees, gas or fuel for charging the protocol's ledger are paid in Rune. The network can require fees for executing transactions, trades, and cross-chain exchanges. Staking Rune in continuous liquidity pools to earn liquidity fees, block rewards for validator nodes are paid in Rune also. Rune has a current circulating supply of 208.6 million with a total supply of 500 million coins. And according to Livecoin Watch, it is ranked number 94 in market cap. Now, as usual, let's go to Coin Codex. I compare all these values to Ethereum here, and I compare them across a variety of different time periods. Just be aware with year to date, because that is capturing from the 1st of January. But let's have a look at Rune and see what it tells us. So here we go. Here's Rune. According to Coin Codex, it's ranked number 71. And like I said, this is all compared to the Ethereum value. So we can see across the 1 year mark, it is down 6% compared to Ethereum. The year to date is negative 9.7%, so you would have been better off holding Ethereum. 6 months, 5%, 3 months, 44%, 1 month, 10%, 7 days, 6.4%, and last 24 hours, it's outperformed Ethereum by a measly 2.5%. The higher time frames are more important, so you're really looking at, say, the 3 months, the 6 months, and the 1 year mark. Those are the time frames to really keep in mind here. But in essence, what you're doing with this, comparing to all these coins to the Ethereum value, is you're just looking for as much green as possible. If you're finding a lot of red across the board, that means it has consistently underperformed compared to Ethereum, which tells me that you're better off holding Ethereum, because you'll make more of a return, you'll reduce your risk substantially, and you'll be able to hodl longer and reap the rewards. And unfortunately, Rune or Thorchain has actually underperformed against Ethereum consistently. And that's just what the numbers tell me. It's there in bright red, and we have to be aware of that. Now let's have a look at Rune, measuring the high to the low, and here's the 50% mark at $10.14. We broke it, of course, when a lot of cryptos were getting hit on the 4th of December, and we've pretty much been on a downtrend. Now, a lot of cryptos have been doing this. They've been finding support around the low that they put in on the 20th of July. That was the last sort of bear marker-ish, where most cryptos bottomed out at. And most cryptos are finding support around that area, which I don't like. The really good cryptos, they're still in the white area, or they're finding some support here. But the bad cryptos are here. The really, really bad cryptos are actually dipping below the low that they put in on the 20th of July. So Rune is in the bad category, not in the very, very bad category, but nonetheless in the bad category and fighting around that $4.18 area at the moment. Just be aware, guys, that the price can still dip just because we found support against it, which is good. If we keep testing this support, we will eventually break through. And there's a lot of uncertainty in the market at the moment. And this could just be a capitulation before we start really going down and getting hit pretty hard, because most people are expecting at least one more downtrend to continue or one more set of liquidation or scare tactic to come into play before we start going sideways and eventually going again up. So just be aware of that before you start buying Thorchain. And if we zoom in a bit closer here on my fib extension tool, you can see the 50% playing out again, finding support on it at $3.21. We bounced off it and we're currently at $4.17 now. So like I said, see how we start reacting in this area here in the 50% mark. I do anticipate a break if we continue with this sort of sideways market. It just looks like the market wants to go down a little bit more before we start, cleaning out all the weak hands in the market, unfortunately. So be wary of that. Now let's compare Rune to its Bitcoin value. And this is a similar chart as well, bottoming out compared to the low that it put in on the 27th of July this time and finding support there again. So right now we're testing the 618 mark. A lot of people like to use that mark. So it is 0.000167 of a Bitcoin or Satoshi in this case, and finding some support around that bottom that we put in on the 19th of October. I couldn't find an Ethereum chart to compare it to, but if it was, it would look worse than this because we know that Ethereum is actually outperforming Bitcoin lately. So this would look even worse if I was able to find a Ethereum chart to compare Thorchain to. So still has a ways to go. And just remember, guys, sometimes people say, oh, you're buying at support. It's fine, you're okay. But you have to always remember on the way up how many resistance barriers it has to really go through before it starts really making its way up. And this is really the tough market it has to go through before it actually starts looking like a winner. And this is why when people say buy at support levels, you want to be careful when they say that, because they're not thinking of how hard it is for a coin to continuously push up and push through all of those resistance barriers that it has to go through. Now let's do some price predictions for Thor. So we're on my RSI tool here. We know that cryptocurrencies do like to go hit 70 in the RSI. We actually did hit 70 on the RSI a few times in early November and October. So a 70 on the RSI would get Thor to $9.47, which is about a 126% increase from where it currently is now at the moment. 80 on the RSI, which is possible because Thorchain did actually hit 80 on the RSI on the 3rd of November and again on the 25th of October, slightly under, but let's just call it 80 on the RSI. That would take Thorchain to, and 80 on the RSI would take Thorchain to $14.26, which is about a 246% increase from where it is currently. And if we hit 90 on the RSI, which Thorchain has yet to do, but some cryptocurrencies have, that would take Thorchain to a whopping $28.59, which is about a 586% increase from where it currently is. This is really if we get the blow off top, Thorchain can theoretically hit these numbers. But we're still going sideways. I don't want to get you too excited. Just be aware that this is looking weak at the moment. It's not to say it always will be weak. It can actually start, proving itself in the next few days, few weeks, few months. We don't know. I check the charts every day, but at the moment you can clearly see that is a pretty clear downtrend, finding support at the low it put in back in the 20th of July, which I don't like to see. Luna, AVAX, these really good solid cryptos, they have not tested the low that they put in on the 20th of July. They've done much better than that. So looking weak, unfortunately, at the moment. I have to be honest about that. But fundamentally, I do like this coin, but I think it's going to take a few years before we can start to see something. But if we do, we could see something like a curve or something like that happen with Thorchain. So that is my honest opinion on Thorchain or Rune. I will link my market update videos below. I hope you watch those ones out. There is some really good information on those and I really did my analysis on that one. So please check those out. And if this video was helpful at all, give me a like, give me a subscribe. And until then, I will see you on the next video.